It's a weekend, and I'm sure you had other things to do, but your joining the session today is a clear reflection of the love you have for Sant Kabir and his teachings. I would like to request you to share with us what is it about Sant Kabir that draws you to the session. And you could unmute yourself and speak, or you could type it in the chat. What is it that you love about Sant Kabir, his teachings, his dohas? And while we are waiting for your responses to come, I will take a minute to share with you what is it that I love about Sant Kabir. One of the things that stand out about him in my mind is the fact that he did not define himself, or he did not let himself be defined by his economic status, his caste, or his religion. He was a Muslim from a low caste. He was a weaver, which was considered to be low caste, and from a poor economic background. But he didn't let any of these things define him. And this is truly marvelous, considering the situation we have in our society today, where we are, we look at people by the positions or titles they hold, by the money they have, by the assets they have. And often we consciously or unconsciously let these things define ourselves. The way I feel when I'm driving a WagonR and the way I'll feel when I'm driving a BMW are very different. The way people look at me is very different. But can we be can we choose or be conscious and not defined by these things? I think that's a great message personally for me from Sant Kabir that appeals to me. Another thing that I love a lot about him is the universal nature of his teachings. The things he talked about were amazing. He says, I don't believe in any religion, Muslim, Christian, or whatever, Hindu. If God were to make people a Hindu, Muslim, or a Christian when they were born, I would have believed that this is God's will. But we are all born equal. God does not differentiate amongst his children. It is only human beings. It's a system made by human beings, and he cared two hoots about it. And not that it didn't bother people around him. There was significant opposition to his thoughts and ideas, but he persisted with his belief, sometimes getting beaten up, sometimes getting ostracized by the society, but so many things. And that really impresses me about him, standing up for the conviction of your thoughts. Many a times today we yield to what other people are thinking or what they want to be, play to the gallery rather than stand up for what we are truly convinced about. These are some of the things I would be happy to hear from you. Let me see if there's anything in so Vijay says his dohas are straight, blunt, meaningful, and you connect. Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you for sharing that. Rashmi says his simple teaching about life in saral sahaj words directly go to the heart. No adambar. I clearly appreciate that, Rashmi. Thank you, friends. If you have other views on why, if you would like to share, what is it about Kabir that you love, please unmute yourself and speak, or continue to share with us in the chat. It will help everybody. Moving on, I would like to share about this doha of Kabir, in which he says, Guru Gobind dau khade kake lagu pae, balihari guru apne Govind diyo bataye. And what he is sharing in this is that if you have to choose between God and Guru, if both God and Guru are standing in front of you and if you choose between one, you choose Guru, because Guru will show you the path to the God. And friends, what I would like to share with you in a contemporary setting is that we think of God as goals. If we want to achieve the goals in our life, we need a guru, we need a mentor, we need a coach. All too often, I see people trying to achieve things, do things on their own, and people struggle a lot. But it is very important that we identify ourselves we identify for ourselves a guru, a coach, or mentor who can help us achieve our goals. I think that is something which really helps us be more productive and reach our potential. Otherwise, many people are living lives in a suboptimal mode. And the meaning of guru literally is dispeller of darkness and bring clarity to what we want to learn. And the person who is going to do that for us today is Anamika Chakrabarti. Anamika is an alumnus of IIM Bangalore and Mumbai University. She worked in the corporate sector for over 25 years with leading organizations like TCS, KPMG, Deloitte, and now she's a Heal Your Life teacher and a Reiki healer and a sought after speaker. She keeps a very busy schedule, and she's just rushed back from another speaking assignment to be with us here. We welcome you, Anamika, and really appreciate your taking out time to share with us the insights from Kabir Dohas. Anamika, you're on mute.
Oops. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Ashish.
Yeah.
I'm fine. Now I'm unmuted, right? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So just one small okay. I spelled my name as Varty and not Borty. I'm a total Mumbaikar, not, though I'm a Bengali, but Mumbaikar. So yeah, just wanted to say that. No. That's a common mistake that people think, I'm a pseudo bong. Anyway, thank you everybody for being here. Good evening. I see many familiar names, not faces, because everybody is not on the video, but that's okay, whatever is comfortable for you. Before I start talking about Kabir and his dohas, I just want everybody to just take 3 deep breaths and keep your hands on your legs, your knees, your legs to be on the ground or cross-legged if you're sitting somewhere, and keep your spine erect and very gently close your eyes. Do a scan of your entire body and just relax every part of your body. A quick scan. See that your eyebrows are not knitted, that your shoulder is relaxed, not hunched, your neck is straight. These are the places where usually we carry stress. Your stomach is relaxed, your back is relaxed. Once you relax your body, bring your attention to your breath. See that you have normal rhythmic breath. Nothing to control, nothing to regulate. Just notice your breath. As you inhale, your abdomen will rise, and as you exhale, your abdomen will fall. Now that you have a relaxed body and rhythmic breath, bring your attention to your mind. Just notice what all is going on in your mind, and very kindly, gently, and firmly close all the open windows and apps in your mind. So your mind to its quiet, calm, peaceful state. And now bring your attention to your heart, your physical heart first. Feel its warmth. And then your emotional heart. Slowly open your emotional heart to connect with everybody in this call. That you engage so that you communicate with everybody in this call. See that you are also aware of what all is going on around you. So we have to be calm, quiet, but be aware of the context that we are in. So any sounds that you can hear, any feelings, just be aware of that. And finally, become aware of your energetic field, which is like some inches all around you. And slowly expand this energetic field to include everybody in this call, including me. So all of us are then ensconced in this warm and energetic embrace. And as we are in this energetic and warm embrace, make an intention for yourself for this session. And once you have done that, then slowly, gently open your eyes. And if anybody wants to share their intention, please do so either in the chat box or you unmute yourself and quickly tell what your intention for this session is. Let's take the next 2 minutes to do that.
So friends, please share with us your intentions for the session, and thank you, Anamika, for that mindfulness practice. And that is a perfect segue into introducing mindful living. Friends, how many of you are joining us for the first time? Please type FT if you're joining a session by mindful living for the first time. All right, thank you, friends. So allow me a minute to introduce myself. My name is Ashish Kumar, and I'm the founder of Mindful Living. I'm a certified mindfulness coach, and I started Mindful Living in 2018 after working in the corporate sector for 25 years in senior management roles with organizations like Tata AIG, Future Generali, Marsh India, HCL, and Dabur Group. During the years of my working in the corporate sector, I saw at close quarters how stressed the employees in the corporate sector are and the toll it is taking on their health, on their relationships and financial well-being. And I thought for myself that there got to be a better way of living, and I set up Mindful Living with a mission to help 1 million working professionals lead healthier, happier, and wealthier lives. And we work actively in the corporate sector. We have conducted over 270 sessions for leading organizations that include Aditya Birla Group, Tata Group, IBM, EXL, Signify, Schneider, Airbnb, and many others, helping their employees deal with the challenges of work day-to-day, stress, leadership, collaboration, and many other challenges. The session today is being organized as a part of the Mindful Living Community Initiative, which we started in April 2020 when the first lockdown happened. And there was a small group of about 10 people, 10 friends who got together to practice mindfulness on weekends to deal with the stress and uncertainty that was staring us at that time. And that group over a period of time has grown to be a vibrant community of over 2,000 people, and we connect every weekend to practice practical aspects of the mindfulness. So we talk about how we can apply mindfulness to our daily lives, and these sessions are complimentary. In case you would like to be a part of this community initiative helping people become healthier, happier, and wealthier, please click on the chat, the link we are sharing in the chat, and be a part of our WhatsApp community. We conduct sessions every weekend where you can come and practice mindfulness, learn about the practical aspects of mindfulness. Friends, the session today is not a podcast, so I will request you to keep your cameras on. It is not also a TV show where you can lean back and enjoy. We would request you to participate actively. When we ask you to share your comments, type in the chat or unmute yourself and speak, or use the reactions button in the toolbar. Show love to what Anamika is sharing, show love to Kabir dohas, show thumbs up, clap, do whatever, but be actively engaged. This is not to get the most out of this session. don't do multitasking. You know, Kabir was born about 700 years ago, and the stuff he has shared with us is relevant today. And he didn't propagate. I assure you, I have listened to most of his 200 dohas. He didn't talk about multitasking in one of them. So please, if you love Kabir, please be present 100% and make the maximum from this session. And on that note, over to you, Anamika. Thank you very much. Thank you everyone for joining us.
Thank you. So there was no multitasking when dear Kabir was alive, or even computers, right? From where this whole concept of multitasking comes through. Most of the people who have said FT, I'm seeing Ashish are my invitees. So I'm happy that people have been able to join both from the community and from without. So if we can get my presentation up, I can start. Yeah, okay. So while we are waiting for the presentation to come up, anybody wants to share their favorite Kabir dohas? Anybody? Just raise your hand and. Yeah, Rashmi, go ahead.
राखिए आंगन उठी बिछाए बिन पानी बिन साबुन के मन को मैल दिए तो. This is the favorite.
Okay, quickly just give an explanation of that.
We are very much upset when somebody criticizes us and pointing out, but in fact we didn't realize that कि ही उसको हमें उतना as a guest treat करना चाहिए कि बिना पानी बिन साबुन के वो हमारे मन का मैल या हमारी बुराइयों को point out कर देता है. Instead of creeping and feeling bad, we should have respect for the person, or cleaning. It was a cleansing inside us.
Ah, right. Super. Super. Yeah. Who's that? I know Vrinda, you put up your hand.
Yeah. Should I go ahead, Anamika?
Yeah, please do. Please do that.
I think the one Kabir doha which resonates with me is Saईं itna dijiye जामे कुटुम संभाए मैं भी भूखा ना रहूं साधु ना भूखा जाए.
Super. Super.
I think that's very self-explanatory.
It's self-explanatory. I hope. How many people? Okay, so who else has put up their hand? Ashish, I cannot see. I think there are more people who have put up their hands. So can you invite them to share?
There is Monisha who's raised her hand.
Okay, Monisha.
There is Brinda and Satya.
Brinda just spoke. Brinda just spoke. So those who speak, please put your
Satya and Anamika, 2 names.
And Manisha. Yeah, Manisha, go ahead. And Satya.
Hi, Anamika. I don't know if you remember me. We were
of course, Manisha Sethi. Of course, yes. So this Manisha is from my school. I'm meeting her after that. Yeah. Let's not say which year it was. Let's go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, love you, Anamika. Okay, I just wanted to say something that has always stayed with me about Kabir. बड़ा हुआ तो क्या हुआ जैसे पेड़ खजूर पंछी को छाया नहीं फल लागे अति दूर. So for me,
I'm going to talk about this doha later, Manisha. So I will give the explanation. Thank you so much.
Great.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Satya.
हाड़ जरे जो लाकड़ी.
Okay.
हाड़ जरे जो लाकड़ी केस जरे जो घास सब जग जलता देख कर भये कबीर उदास.
Oh, okay, lovely.
हाड़ जले जो लाकड़ी केस जले जो घास हड्डी श्मशान में लकड़ी की तरह जल जाती है.
करेक्ट.
माथे के बाल घास की तरह जल जाते हैं. सब जगह जलता देख कर भये कबीर उदास. चलती चाकी देख के दिया कबीरा रोए 2 पाटन के बीच में साबुत बचा न कोई. पानी केरा बुदबुदा असमानुष की जात देखते ही छिप जाएगा ज्यों तारा प्रभात.
वाओ, सुपर. ये तो दोहे से ज्यादा हो गया, बट थैंक यू फॉर शेयरिंग रमीला जी. Satya, go ahead. Sorry for keeping you waiting. Satya Chaube. Yeah.
So I want to say Guru Govind दोनों खड़े आके लागू पैर बलिहारी गुरु आप क्या जो गोविंद दिए मिलाए.
Yeah, you joined a little late. Actually, Ashish just shared that Doha in the
Okay.
beginning of
Okay.
this. Thank you, but thank you so much for sharing. Thank you so
I
much.
can share one more.
Okay, go ahead.
बुरा जो देखन मैं चला बुरा न मिले कोई जो मन देखा आपना मुझसे बुरा ना कोई.
Okay, so we see evil all around, try to see evil all around us, but actually it's all within us. Yes.
True.
Usha Devi?
Yes. Mummy, unmute yourself.
Ah, that's your mom. How nice.
माला फेर झुक गया गया न मन का फेर के छोड़ के माला मन का फेर.
Yeah, you have to
माला
connect.
फेरा तो सब गया, मन का फेर नहीं गया, मन का अपना मन को नहीं बदला, उसको माला के मन के को छोड़ के मन को फेरो, मन को बदलो, मतलब
और कितने लोग ऐसे होते हैं, राइट, जो माला
ही फेरते रहते हैं, मन नहीं बदलता है. तो माला के मन के को, मन का मतलब मोती, माला के मोती को छोड़ के अपने मन को बदलो, मन का फेर करो.
Super, super, super. Yeah, Anu. So we'll take Anu, last one now before I start.
रहीमन धागा प्रेम का मत तोड़ो चटकाए, टूटे से फिर ना जुड़े, जुड़े गांठ पड़ जाए.
वाओ, जल्दी से इसका मीनिंग बता दो अनु.
कि आप प्रेम का धागा कभी तोड़ो मत, एक दफा टूट गया तो जब जुड़ेगा तो भी गांठ रहेगा उसमें.
Correct, correct.
Very nice, very nice.
Yeah. Pradnya, yeah, we are going to talk about Moko Kaha Dhunde Re Bande. So just stay with me. Let's take the first slide. So just an introduction to dear Kabir. Yeah, so it means great in Arabic. Kabir was somebody who lived simply on earth, and he had a lot of enormous spiritual accomplishments encompassing poetry and music. And he remained a legend and a mystery all through his life and maybe beyond. He was loved and revered by Hindus, Muslims, and Sikhs. The Guru Granth Sahib has his teachings. There are people, the Hindus, Muslims, both worship him. There is a considerable scholarly debate on the circumstances surrounding Kabir's birth. Yeah, according to some people, he was born from the womb of Brahmani, who was a widow of Kashi with the blessings of the Jagat Guru Ramanand Swami. Brahmani is supposed to have thrown the child because she was an unwed mother, and then was adopted by the weaver couple, the Muslim weaver couple. Many followers of Kabir also believe that he came from Satlok by assuming the body of light, and he was incarnated on a lotus flower, and claims that the Rishi Ashtananji was the direct witness of this incident. In another version, there is the ascetic that assures the mother that the birth would be in an unusual manner, and so it was. Kabir was born out of the palm of his mother. So there are different stories, different biographers talk about different stories. And here I would like to say that this reminded me of the Immaculate Conception of Jesus, right? And apparently even Buddha was conceived by Maya after she dreamt of a white elephant entering her womb from her side, right? Not the vagina. And we find that the intention of such stories of miraculous or supernatural births of great men, very rarely women, is clearly to elevate or deify them and differentiate them from the common people. So great men have to be born great, and that is why these stories come up. So he was brought up by this Muslim weaver couple, Neeru and Neema. He's supposed to have two children, Kamal and Kamali. Again, there is a dispute about this. Some people say he was married and had these two children. Some say that he was celibate. And there's a great story that goes that, he was a patron in the court of the Sultan of Delhi, Sikandar Lodi. And Sikandar Lodi was a disciple of Kabir. And his spiritual advisor envied Kabir Das and challenged him to resurrect a dead person. Said, if you do that, then I will believe that Kabir is God. And Kabir agreed to that, and there was this dead body on the river, and he resurrected that dead body, and that is the person who was called Kamal, and he became Kabir's son. The spiritual advisor who challenged Kabir did not believe that. He said maybe this body was already alive. So he said you should do it to a body that has been dead for some time. And he took him to the tomb of his own daughter. Okay, and Kabir is supposed to have resurrected her, and she refused then go back to her father, saying that life is over, and she was then known as Kabir's daughter. So all different stories that go around, but his greatness is there. He was a great figure of the Bhakti movement. Before I go to his dohes, is somebody speaking? Okay, maybe everybody needs to be muted except me. Before I go ahead, I want to tell another story. Let's go to the next slide, which is the story of how he met his guru, guru, that is Ramananji, right? So Ramananji was a very orthodox Pandit. He was a philosopher, reformer, and was a focal point of the Bhakti movement. But he was very orthodox, a very orthodox religious leader. So he wouldn't obviously look at untouchables, and definitely not entertain a low caste Muslim. And Kabir Bhatt was very enamored by Ramananji from his very early age. So once in the pre-dawn twilight, when there was not much light, he went to the same ghat that Ramananji used to go to take a bath, and he lay down in the ghats. And so when Ramananji came, he hit his toe, Ramananji's toe hit Kabir's forehead, and he startled, he said Ram Ram, and went away. At this, Kabir silently got up, and from that day he declared that he was a disciple of the great Ramananji. Now Ramananji's other disciples were very perturbed. What the heck is happening? They questioned their master. How did you give your discipleship to such a person? The guru denied, and Kabir was brought in. And habitually, as such persons are spoken to avoid looking at him, Ramananji actually spoke to Kabir from behind a curtain. There was a parda. And he asked why Kabir was making such false claims. And Kabir said, well, I was initiated by you on the steps of the ghat. You touched my forehead with your foot, and you gave me the mantra Ram Ram. So I'm your disciple. And though Ramananji strictly followed traditions, he magnanimously accepted Kabir as his disciple. And some literatures also say that he allowed himself to be guided by Kabir's intuitive truth and his ideas, which changed the guru in many ways. The book, Kabir's compositions are compiled in a book called Bijak, and that clearly says that there's every reason to believe that Ramananji was largely influenced by Kabir, because subsequently he accepted more low caste devotees within his fold. So Kabir was a true seeker, and he visited many places, met many people, and in own way realized the hollowness of rituals and modes of worship. Temples, mosques, idol, holy water, scriptures, priests, they didn't make sense to him. He did not, acknowledge any distinctions based on caste. And he criticized both Hindus and Muslims for their rites, for their rituals, their customs, which he thought were futile. He preached that God can be achieved only through complete devotion. I am a child of Allah and of Ram. Ram, not as in the hero of the Ramayana, but as a metaphor for the Lord. And he cared very little whether people knew him as Brahmin or Mohammedan or Sufi, a Vedantic, a Vaishnavite. Vaishnavite because Ramananji was a Vaishnava, was a follower of the Vaishnava tradition. So at this stage, I want to share with you this composition of his, मोको कहाँ ढूंढे रे बंदे, मैं तो तेरे पास में. Very easy to understand Hindi, those who understand Hindi, and for those who don't, I will give a loose translation. ना तीरथ में, ना मूरत में, ना एकांत निवास में, ना मंदिर में, ना मस्जिद में, ना काबे कैलाश में, ना मैं जप में, ना मैं तप में, ना मैं व्रत उपवास में, ना मैं क्रिया क्रम में रहता, ना ही योग संन्यास में, ना ही प्राण में, ना ही पिंड में, ना ब्रह्मांड आकाश में, ना मैं त्रिकुटी भवर में, सब श्वासों के श्वास में, खोजी हुए तुरंत मिल जाऊं, तुरंत, इमीडिएट, एक पल की ही तलाश में, जस्ट अ मोमेंट ऑफ सर्च. कहे कबीर सुनो भय साधो, मैं तो हूँ विश्वास में. मोको कहाँ ढूंढे रे बंदे, मैं तो तेरे पास में. So the loose translation, because I know Kabir, is that, oh follower, oh seeker, where do you search me? I'm always with you. Not in pilgrimage, not in statues, neither in solitude, not in temples or in mosques or in Kaaba or Kailash. I think Kaaba is a holy place for the Muslims. I'm with you, always with you. Not in prayers, not in meditation, not in fasting or yogic exercises, neither in the soul nor the body, not even in the infinite space, neither the womb of nature, not breath of breath, swaso ke swas mein. Seek earnestly and you will discover me in but a moment of search, ek hi pal mein. Listen with care, says Kabir. Where your faith is, that is where I am. Yeah, and I have written there Shankaracharya. So Kabir Das was there in the 15th, some people say 14th century. Shankaracharya, who sort of revived the Sanatan Dharma, who was there in the 8th century, has similar composition called the Nirvana Shatkam, where he talks na dharmo na chartho, na kamo na moksha, chidananda rupa, shivoham, na punyam na papam, na saukhyam na dukkham, na mantro na tirtham, na veda na yajnaha, aham bhojanam naiva bhojyam na bhota, chidananda rupa, shivoham. I'm just giving you a part of that composition. Very beautiful composition again. Yeah, so even though details about Kabir's life are scanty, his verses have all survived. He's a man known for and by his poems. And he wrote these 2-line dohas, couplets, and some even longer padas, songs. So some of you who joined early might have heard the song, which is Kabir Cafe. They are a band who sort of popularize the songs of Kabir. Shmita, there's somebody who's unmuted. And there's also, oh God, I forget her first name, Veermani. Her second name is Veermani. She also sings a lot of songs of Kabir. So Kabir's poems are written in very simple language and sometimes difficult to interpret, but because they are interspersed first with complicated symbolisms and metaphors. He spoke his dohas in various dialects, including Braj, Bhojpuri, and Awadh. And as I said, his work, Bijak, has a huge collection of all his poems. And he simply followed unity. And I'm going to now share some of the dohas of his. So let's see the first doha. It's on love. Yeah, so the lessons of love, when learned and practiced in all aspects of life, make life flow with ease, even in the turbulence of the modern day existence. So he says, Pothi padi padi jag mua, pandit bhaya na koi. Dhai akhar prem ka, padhe so pandit hoy. This is where dhai akshar prem ke comes from. So the literal translation is that you may read many scriptures on love, like somebody talked about, doing the mala so much. Yet you will not become a pandit. You will not become the wise one. The one who internalizes love is considered to be truly wise, truly learned. Yeah. So in this Doha, Kabir reassures us that we do not need to acquire bookish knowledge to be considered learned. All we need is to imbibe the essence of love. Love is the answer, whatever be the question. Learning from the head, our logical mind creates barriers to thinking of we should do, people should be like that, love should be like that. And these judgments diminish our capacity to love and to relate to others. So as Ashish shared in the beginning, I'm also a Heal Your Life teacher, which is basically, I'm trained in the philosophy of dear Louise Hay. And she gives a lot of importance on this should, what we should do and what we should not do, and how we can change that perspective from should to could. Next one on power of speech. So, ऐसी बानी बोलिए मन का आपा खोए, औरन को शीतल करे आप हूँ शीतल हो जाए. So, it's not that it's only for others. He's also talking about self-love. Communicate in a manner that opens the mind, soothing all who hear, while calming yourself too. Yeah, because speech has the power. It can hurt others, but it also has the power and the capacity to heal. So Kabir reminds us to speak in a manner which will dissolve our ego, soothing all who listens to us and quietening ourselves too. The power of our speech helps us to build strong connections and foster healing. So let us remind ourselves to guard against the negative traits that can cause harm to others. And here I'm also reminded of another teacher of mine, Nitya Shanti, who talks about the 3 gates of speech. Okay, so he says when you want to say something, there are 3 gates that whatever you say has to pass. First is it true? Okay, in today's WhatsApp age, we are forwarding all sorts of messages, not even knowing the veracity of that message. So is it true? If it passes that gate, then you ask, is it kind? Sometimes it may be true, but it's unkind. So it fails in the second gate. So you do not say that. Just keep quiet, even though it is true. It's true and it's kind. Finally, the third gate is it even necessary? Is it even necessary to talk so much? Because the more we talk, the more we agitate the mind and the more we are far away from ourselves. It's always an outward looking perspective that we develop. Yeah, so the power of speech. The next Doha I want to share. So I will be sharing some of the Dohas, not all of them. And after that, again, people can share their Dohas. It's on equanimity. It says, Kabira khada bazar mein, mange sabki khair, na kahu se dosti, na kahu se bair. So it's a easy one, talking about the balance, the essential quality to strike a fine balance through the ups and downs of life as we know it. Kabir stands in the marketplace, wishes for the well-being of all. Neither is he friends with anybody, nor is enemies with anybody. Yeah? So Kabir's obviously interactions were devoid of any clinging or aversion, neither bear nor great dosti. He engaged with people from different segments of society in a very detached and yet genuinely compassionate way. Many people think of detachment as, not connecting, but it is detached and compassionate way. And being humane is about finding a way to relate to everyone from a neutral perspective, right? You have to be balanced. You have to be somewhere in the middle. And a compassionate witness, he holds equanimity in each moment to strike a balance to the ups and downs of life as we know it. The next one, which is what one of You shared, बड़ा हुआ तो क्या हुआ, जैसे पेड़ खजूर, पंथी को छाया नहीं, फल लागे अति दूर. So it says this, what if you're a tall tree like the date tree? It gives no shade to the traveler because it is so tall, the leaves are all high up, and nor are the fruits within reach. So of what use is our growth when it does not benefit our fellow travelers or those who are less fortunate than us? What's the point of being self-serving? So when we open our hearts and resourcefulness to benefit others, we celebrate our growth in real sense. Through compassionate action to make life more wonderful for beings around us, this is how we nourish ourselves in daily life. Yeah. I'm just going to take a very short and quick pause. Anybody wants to share anything about any of the dohas that I have just shared? Okay, so I'm going to just skip this one and go to the next one, just to manage the time better and maybe come back here if I still have time. So it says, Chaki chaki sab kahe, kili kahe na koi. Chaki chaki sab kahe, kili kahe na koi, jo kili se lage rahe, baako baal na baaka hoye. Okay, so this is a little difficult to understand. I don't know how many of you would know. The chaki is the grinder, right? Chaki, pissing. I must share this, like, we say the monkey mind. So when I was researching about this doha, this is what came to my mind. Chakki, pissing, and where it comes from, right? Dear Dharmendra from Sholay. So that's where my mind went. Coming back. So the kili is the middle part of the chaki, the chakki. And the grains that are in the middle do not get ground. Okay, they stay whole. So basically from this doha, he's trying to say that everyone seeks pleasure outwardly and suffers. So peace jata hai. They get ground. The one who remains centered stays unharmed and whole. That is what this doha is saying. So when you're in touch with the core of your being, yeah, you find undisturbed by the daily grind or what is happening around you, all the worldly challenges, because you're so established and anchored in yourself. So he says, let us remain anchored within ourselves by living a life of integrity, guided by our inner truth. My favorite doha. This is my favorite doha. It says, Dukh mein sumiran sab kare. We remember the Lord whenever we are in trouble, whenever we are sad, whenever we are in sorrow. Sukh mein kare na koi. When we are happy, some of us, yeah, we are grateful, we express our gratitude, not all. And this doha goes on to say that jo sukh mein sumiran kare, to dukh kahe ko hoye. So if you are in touch with the divinity, with the Lord all through your life, then there is no, we are able to tide through the tough times. When we practice gratitude, we learn to take the sad and the happy times with grace, because both are grace. And we experience a sense of calmness in spite of all the upheavals of life. I just got this message on WhatsApp. This like law of attraction. I was doing this doha and it gave me the story which I want to share with all of you. It's about this Wimbledon player called Arthur Ashe. He was dying of AIDS, which he got because of some infected blood that he received during a heart surgery way back in 1983. And he received a lot of letters from his fans. And one of them says, why did God have to select you for such a bad disease? Why you? And Arthur Ashe is supposed to have replied very beautifully. He said 50 million children started playing tennis. 5 million actually learn to play. Right? You will start to learn, but then you don't learn actually. So 5 million from 50 million, 5 million learn to play tennis. About what? 5 lakhs learned professional tennis. Right? That's a different level altogether. 50,000 come to the circuit, the tennis circuit as it is called. 5,000 reach the Grand Slam. You all have the rankings and all. So from 50 million, we have come to 5,000 who have reached the Grand Slam. 50 reach Wimbledon. 4 reach the semi-finals. And 2 reach the finals. And he says, when I was holding the cup in my hand, I never asked God, why me? So now that I'm paying, how can I ask God, why me? Yeah, that's such a beautiful story of why me. So whenever we are happy, why me? Why? When we are sad, why me? Right? Because we are the chosen ones. We are the chosen ones. We have grace. That's why. It also reminds me of this saying which says, right, the more you sweat in peace, the less you bleed in war. Yeah, something similar. So I am going beyond. Yes, peaceful warrior. Thank you, Rashmi, for sharing that. This is the last one I will share with all of you. And then I will again ask all of you to share. It's a beautiful one on oneness, right? And today's life where there's so much us versus them in so many different ways, so much diversity, so much diversity. He says this, मैं लागा उस एक से एक भाई सब माए सब मेरा मैं सबन का कहाँ दूसरा नाए. So I am connected to the one. Yeah, I find myself merged in all beings. All are mine. And I belong to all. There is no other. There is no other. There is a famous quote by, which is attributed to Ramana Maharishi, right? One of the seekers is supposed to have asked him that how do we treat others? And Ramana Maharishi is supposed to have said, there are no others. There are no others. We are all one. So when I am connected with that divine self within, I experience oneness with the universe. And this awareness liberates us from the conflict and the confusion that is caused by othering, right? Somebody else, you, me, others. So I'll end my presentation by saying that he's also supposed to have had a supernatural death called as a rainbow body master. I'm part of such a group where a lot of people who leave their body, finally there is no body. So where Kabir Das's body was, a large quantity of flowers was seen under it. And half of these flowers were taken by the king of Kashi and burnt on the banks of the holy Ganga. And the ashes were then buried and a temple was built. This temple is known by the name of Kabir Chaura. Kabir Chaura. It's a great place of pilgrimage for the followers of Kabir. The other half of the flowers was taken by the Mohammedans and buried at Moghar, where Kabir is supposed to have died. a mosque was built over the grave, and this is also a place of pilgrimage for the Mohammedans. And the doubt about this miracle has remained with many of his biographers, but some certainly had no doubt for his faith. His faith was, without any doubt, the most supreme faith that he had in the divinity, in the Almighty, the oneness of everybody. So I had half an hour to present the whole legend that is Kabir, and I have just picked out the salient points which which resonated with me, share with all of you. And yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Anamika. Thank you very much. And yeah, I understand the challenge speaker has when you have to talk on something like Kabir, who's got 200 duas, and you can speak like hours and hours on that, and you have to speak, get only 30 minutes to speak. I can understand. I understand, friends, that's very difficult to compress whole of Kabir in half an hour, but our endeavor here is to kickstart this process. Into your consciousness about Kabir and his duas, and it kickstarts the journey. And
absolutely.
And I'm sure you will walk further. We also have a session next week on Kabir. So please click on the link which we are sharing in the chat. Be a part of our community and stay connected, updated about the awesome sessions we conduct every weekend. Next weekend, we have Mr. Vinayak Sapre, who has written a very interesting book on Kabir titled Dohanomics. So he has applied Kabir Dohas to economics and finance and investment, So we'll have him speak Kabir's perspective on, the economics and investment. So please come and join us for that. We also would like to have your feedback. It will take you less than 30 seconds, but please share your feedback. We really value your feedback. We have been seeing in the chat that you've really enjoyed the session. Thank you very much for that, but request you to take 30 seconds and fill out the feedback form, the link to which has been shared in the chat, and then we will open up the session for you to share what your takeaways are, what your favorite Kabir Dohas are, so another minute or so, and then we will open up the session.
Vrinda, you had put up your hand, no?
And once you are done with the feedback, please type FD in the chat box so that you have submitted the feedback done. And then we will open up. I'll request you to use the raise hands function in the reactions button, like I'm doing now. And once you do that, then we will invite you to share your thoughts. So use this raise hands emoji, and we will then invite you. Just give us a couple of minutes, Vrinda, and we will then open up. So we are sharing the link to the WhatsApp group once again. So please use that to join us. All right. So while we are filling out the feedback forms and joining the community, I'll invite Vrinda to share.
Hi, what a beautiful session, Anamika. Thank you. And thank you, Ashish, for organizing this so beautiful. I think my intention for this session was to be connected via love. And I think I've got this and much more in the past 45 minutes or so. So what I loved, Anamika, was the fact that when you compared Shankaracharya and said the same thought process has been flowing over centuries, and somewhere along the way, I think in this modern world, we have forgotten those virtues. And thank you for bringing that up. It was a comment, not a question. So I don't think I have questions left yet. So thank you.
Thank you, Vrinda. That was a beautiful one. And I echo what Vrinda shared, Anamika, what you shared with us from Shankaracharya to, so that's a span of 7-8 centuries and the message remains the same. And we're talking about another 7 centuries after Kabir and the message still remains the same. So the timelessness of these messages is amazing. Thank you, Anamika, for sharing. Thank you, Vrinda, for bringing that up.
And yet we don't learn.
Yeah, if we can just share that bit on the group which you have created, Ashish, it'll be it'll serve as a good reminder to keep on listening.
So share both the compositions. That's
both
what
the
you're
compositions.
saying? Yeah,
Yes.
sure.
Thank you.
Thank you everybody for being here. Manisha, Babuji, we have not interacted. I'm glad you're here, and thank you so much. Anu, thank you for sharing. Kalpana, Rashmi.
Thank you.
Babuji, you want to speak?
I'm very happy to be here and to hear you. I have read your messages often on WhatsApp, and I'm really very, very delighted and grateful to this group for creating this and mindfulness. And I do love Kabirji, because in the Guru Granth Sahib, we have him very sacredly mentioned. And yes, I've grown up listening to all of this through my parents. And today has been like a kind of a revival. And I am grateful. Thank you all very much. God bless you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ashish Babuji is a very senior HYL teacher and practitioner. Very, very senior. Yes.
So blessed to have you with us today.
Thank you very much.
My life has been transformed by Louise. I went through a 2-day workshop, weekend workshop in 2014, and my wife followed shortly. And we are like completely transformed in last 7-8 years.
Oh, awesome. Thank you for sharing that. Yes. And there are millions of lives that Louise has touched.
Yes.
And I think as teachers of love, we continue to follow her legacy. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here. Anybody wants to share their Kabir dohas or Kabir's composition, please. This is the time to do that before we end the session.
We have 3 more minutes, so happy to take any share.
It looks everybody. Yeah, Bhavna ji, thank you so much. Thank you so much for your words, and you're always a supporter to all my sessions and all my endeavors. Thank you so much.
Anamika ji, I can't switch on my video right now, but I would like to share something. It was a very beautiful session. And what you told us, that story about Ramanand ji and how Kabir happened to become his disciple, or rather declare himself as his disciple. But it was like, you told us that doha about that chakki and the axle in between, that doha. It's like that also, that ye jo Kabir found the Ram Naam from Ramanand ji. Maybe when he said Ram Naam, Kabir took that Ram Naam as his own. And then he said, because I have been given the Ram Naam by Ramanand ji, Swami Ramanand ji, so he becomes my guru. Now, Kabir, in a way, he was like an orphan child. He was not accepted by society because he was firstly maybe the product of an illegitimate relationship or whatever. And secondly, he had been brought up in a low-class Muslim family. So he was not very well accepted by the elite of the society at that time. So what he found tremendous solace in the Ram Naam, which was given to him by Swami Ramanand ji, and he actually stuck to it as the grains of that cereal or whatever sticks to that axle of the chakki. So he stuck to that Ram Naam, and which I would like to share. It is
Thank you, Pratnya ji. Thank you.
Guru Krupa Anjana Payo Mere Bhai, Ram bina kachu janat nahi. It was, he has written it for his guru, Swami Ramananji, that he gave me the Ram Nam, and because of the Ram Nam, I found solace in the Ram Nam, and he actually found a way out of his whatever troubled existence that he was having with all the, so he found that and he moved towards spirituality because holding on to the Ram Nam. So he wrote his, as a tribute to his guru and as his thankfulness, as a mode of as a thanksgiving to his guru Swami Ramananji, he wrote this bhajan saying that Guru Krupa Anjana Payo Mere Bhai Ram Bina Kachu Janat Nahi. It is one of my favorite bhajans.
Super, super.
Thank you, Pradna. What a powerful sharing, and just the perfect one to wrap up our session today. Really appreciate Pradna, you and everyone joining today. Thank you, Anamika, for kickstarting our journey. This session was organized to celebrate the Kabir Jayanti, which falls on 14th of June. So friends, we are doing this little early this month, this year, because all of our sessions in the month of June are going to be dedicated to yoga. So we decided to celebrate Kabir Jayanti a little bit in advance. Next week also we will have a session on Kabir Jayanti. And the following two sessions, the second fortnight of May, are dedicated to de-addiction. 31st May is No Tobacco Day. So the following two sessions after that on 21st and 28th of May will be related to de-addiction. So please stay tuned. Please be a part of your community. Stay engaged. Spread the word. Be happy. Have a nice weekend. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so
Thank you,
much.
everyone. Thank you.
Bye. Bye, Renuka, Kalyani.
Thank you.
Bye. Thanks for the love.